doctors made the shocking discovery that their little girl's heart was growing outside her body.
You'd never guess that she's living with an extremely rare medical condition. She was born with her heart outside of her body.
What if the rarest children on Earth weren't just different, but living proof that biology still holds secrets science can't explain? From a girl who ages like she's trapped in fast forward, to another whose heart beats outside her chest, and a boy whose mind reads cards no one else can see. This isn't fantasy. These are real kids, real bodies, real mysteries. Welcome to 20 incredible rare kids born with extraordinary features you won't believe. 2026. And trust me, you've never seen anything like this. Number 20. Magali Gonzalez Sierra. Magali does not age the way the rest of us do. While the world moves forward at a steady pace, her body operates as if someone pressed fast forward on time itself. She lives with Hutchinson-Gilford progeria, an extremely rare genetic condition that causes cells to deteriorate rapidly, mimicking advanced aging long before adulthood ever arrives. Wrinkles, fragile bones, and cardiovascular strain are not distant future concerns for Magali. They are daily realities. Doctors once spoke in timelines measured frighteningly short, yet Magali continued to do something medicine did not expect. She lived. Her 15th birthday was not just a celebration, it was defiance. Draped in purple, crowned with a tiara, she stepped into her quinceañera not as a patient, but as a symbol. Mobility may challenge her body, but it has never confined her spirit. Magali teaches a difficult truth. Time is not promised equally. But meaning does not depend on years. It depends on how fully someone chooses to live inside the time they are given. Number 19. Arya Perman. At age 10, Arya weighed 192 kilograms, making everyday movement an impossible task. Walking, standing, even feeling water beneath his feet became distant ideas rather than experiences. His condition was not just physical. Isolation followed him everywhere. The world moved around him while he remained still, confined by biology and habit. But Arya's story did not end there. Through medical intervention, discipline, and painful determination, Arya began shedding more than weight. Each step forward required unlearning comfort and confronting limits that had ruled his life for years. Progress was slow, painful, unforgiving. Yet today, the mirror reflects a different story. A lighter body, reclaimed movement, and a renewed sense of ownership over his life.
Ininya juga nggak terlalu ngegambil kayak dulu.
Arya lebih merasa percaya diri.
Iya, nggak kayak dulu.
Arya's transformation is not cosmetic. It is proof that when willpower aligns with opportunity, even the heaviest burdens can be broken. Number 18. Nova Hunya. From her first moments, Nova Hunya's life depended on machines. Born with severe facial and respiratory abnormalities requiring a tracheostomy tube to breathe from birth, breathing was never something her body could manage alone. Tubes, monitors, and medical equipment became constant companions. Doctors still cannot fully explain the genetic origin of her condition. But what science lacks in answers, her family fills with devotion. Nova's parents never saw her as fragile. They saw resilience. They learned to read her expressions, celebrate small victories, and protect every breath like a treasure. Though she lives within limitations, Nova connects deeply through presence, through touch, eye contact, and the quiet language of survival. Her life reminds us that existence itself can be an act of courage. Nova does not challenge beauty standards. She challenges the idea that life must look a certain way to be meaningful. Number 17. Amaya Stringer. Amaya Stringer entered the world carrying challenges before she ever took a breath. Caudal regression syndrome left her without lower limbs and introduced hearing impairments that reshaped how she would experience life. But surrender was never part of her story.
Yeah, we speak to her in a lower tone because that's what she hears more easily.
Amaya learned to communicate through movement, expression, and sign language, turning her hands into powerful tools of connection. Each milestone, each learned sign, each shared smile became proof that ability is not confined to anatomy. Her family reframed adversity into possibility, transforming daily challenges into lessons in perseverance. Amaya's progress may look different, but it is no less profound. She stands as a quiet force of hope, showing that communication does not require a voice, and strength does not require a conventional body, only a spirit willing to reach outward. Number 16. Nyla Marie. Nyla Marie's skin never rests. Living with rapid skin regeneration, her body replaces cells at an accelerated rate, making temperature regulation and comfort daily challenges. What others take for granted, warmth, cool air, balance, requires constant attention. Yet Nyla refuses to disappear behind her condition. Instead, she turns self-care into self-expression. Fashion becomes armor. Confidence becomes language. Every outfit, every public appearance is a declaration that difference does not diminish beauty, it reshapes it. Nyla is not defined by diagnosis. She is defined by presence. In a world quick to label, she stands unapologetically visible. Her story reminds us that survival can be creative, and that sometimes the body's struggle becomes the very source of personal power. Number 15. Gabby Gingras. At first glance, Gabby Gingra looks like any other child. She goes to school, plays games, and laughs with friends. But behind every ordinary moment is constant surveillance. Gabby cannot feel pain. She has CIP, a congenital insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis. What sounds like a superpower is actually a daily threat. Pain exists to protect us, to warn us when something is wrong. Gabby doesn't get those warnings.
Gently. Careful. Oh, you okay, Crooked? Are you okay? Careful.
Helmets and goggles are not optional. They are survival gear. As a child, she unknowingly injured herself by chewing her fingers and scratching her gums until serious damage occurred. Doctors eventually made the heartbreaking decision to remove her teeth to prevent further harm. Gabby's life is a careful balance between freedom and protection.
They don't feel pain, breaking bones, enduring cuts and bruises and infections that threaten their lives.
Every activity carries invisible risk. Her story forces us to reconsider what invincibility really means.
Thank you for being here today.
Because sometimes the most dangerous condition is not feeling hurt at all. Number 14. Hazna Muslimani. Hazna Muslimani's discovery began quietly. While studying, she felt something in her eye, but no pain. When doctors examined her, they removed pieces of glass. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Hazna began crying shards of glass regularly, 7 or 8 pieces a day, each fragment encased in a gelatin-like membrane that prevented injury as it exited her body. No cuts, no bleeding, no pain. Doctors were stunned. Science offered no satisfying explanation. The human body is not designed to produce glass, let alone expel it safely. Hazna lives under medical observation, her condition straddling the line between biological anomaly and unresolved mystery. Her case reminds us that the body can sometimes produce phenomena that feel less like medicine and more like something out of myth, yet remain entirely real. Number 13. Alani dos Santos. Alani dos Santos became known long before she could understand why. From the age of 3, people began traveling to see her. They came sick, they came desperate, and many left believing they felt better. Dubbed the Little Missionary,
he tells me that critics will never believe, but he says that the moment a person receives the healing, they'll start to believe.
Alani was raised in a deeply spiritual environment. Within her father's church, stories spread of relief, healing, and comfort experienced simply by being near her. Whether faith, psychology, or something unexplained played the central role remains debated. What cannot be denied is the hope she inspired. No medical studies have documented these healing claims. In communities where medicine often feels distant, belief became powerful. Alani's story is not about proof. It is about belief, influence, and the extraordinary emotional impact a child can have on suffering adults. Sometimes healing begins not with medicine, but with hope. Number 12. Natasha Demkina. Natasha Demkina says she can see inside people, not metaphorically, literally. She describes organs, injuries, and internal conditions without scans or instruments. Her ability appeared around age 10, shortly after undergoing surgery to remove her appendix. From that point on, Natasha claimed her vision changed. She no longer saw bodies as solid forms, but as transparent systems.
Especially the left ventricle is beating slower than the right.
He'd had an ECG which had detected arrhythmia.
Family members were the first to test her, then doctors, then skeptics. In controlled experiments, she identified medical conditions with unsettling accuracy. While scientists debate the limits of perception and intuition, Natasha continues to insist she is simply describing what she sees. Her case sits at the uncomfortable intersection of medicine and the unexplained, where certainty dissolves and questions multiply. Number 11. Ramsay Sanguino. Ramsay Sanguino began learning languages before he could walk. By age 11, he spoke up to 7 fluently. But language was only part of what made him extraordinary. His mother noticed something else. Moments where Ramses seemed to know things he shouldn't. During informal experiments, scientists showed him the backs of cards. Without seeing the front, Ramses identified them correctly. Again and again.
Nix holds the cards and asks him to tell her the number.
Francis, what number I have here? 10. Good job.
Diagnosed with autism, Ramses processes the world differently. Whether his abilities stem from heightened perception, pattern recognition, or something not yet understood remains unanswered. What is clear is this: Ramses challenges our understanding of cognition itself. His mind operates on frequencies most of us never access, and that alone is enough to give anyone goosebumps. Number 10. Luis Manuel Gonzalez. Every child is born with a growth pattern doctors expect to follow. Luis Manuel Gonzalez shattered that expectation. From an early age, his body began gaining weight at a pace that alarmed medical professionals across Mexico. By age 2, Luis weighed over 40 kilograms. By 10, he exceeded 120 kilograms. The increase was not gradual. It was explosive. Doctors searched for answers. Hormonal disorders, metabolic syndromes, rare genetic triggers. None fully explained what was happening. Luis's condition remains largely undocumented, existing in the gray space where science admits uncertainty. Standing beside him through relentless hospital visits and public scrutiny is his mother. She became his shield. In the absence of medical certainty, her devotion became the most reliable constant in his life. Luis's story exposes a difficult truth. Sometimes love must carry the weight science cannot, and sometimes survival itself becomes an act of quiet resistance against the unknown. Number 9. Bayezid Hossein, Haley O'Keeans. Bayezid, also known as Haley O'Keeans, did not experience time the way others do. Her body aged rapidly, as though her biological clock had been forcefully accelerated. Childhood and old age blurred into a single compressed experience. Yet Haley refused to be defined by decline. She lived deliberately. Every moment mattered. Every breath carried intention. Though small in stature, she carried the insight of someone who had lived many lifetimes in one. She wrote. She spoke. She transformed personal suffering into a message that traveled far beyond her body. Her autobiography became a reflection not of pain, but of clarity, an insistence that life's value is not measured in duration. Though her physical journey ended early, Haley's presence did not disappear. She remains a reminder that some lives burn brighter precisely because they burn faster. Number 8. Farooq James. Farooq James became known not because of illness, but because of identity. His hair, long, natural, and unapologetically expressive, turned him into the center of a global conversation about culture and acceptance.
Farooq, non-binary, so he can keep his very famous long locks at secondary school.
What should have been a personal expression became a barrier in traditional school systems. Farooq was rejected, not for behavior, but for appearance. His hair, deeply tied to heritage and selfhood, was treated as disruption. Instead of shrinking, Farooq and his family stood firm. His story reframed the debate. Education is not about conformity, it is about growth. Farooq's presence challenges institutions to evolve. He reminds us that diversity is not an obstacle to learning, it is the foundation of it. Number 7. Charlotte Garside. Charlotte Garside exists at the edge of biological possibility. Born with severe growth restriction, her body remains astonishingly small. At birth, she weighed under 1 kilogram. By age 5, only 3 kilograms, even as her spirit refuses to shrink. Doctors struggled to categorize her condition. Her weight barely registered on standard medical scales. Survival itself was once uncertain, yet Charlotte persisted. She moves carefully but intentionally. Every step carries meaning.
You give him kisses. You give him a kiss. Good girl.
Her world is not defined by size, but by resilience. Over more than a decade, she proved that fragility does not equal weakness. Charlotte teaches a quiet lesson. Physical magnitude has nothing to do with presence. The smallest bodies can hold the greatest courage.
1, 2, 3. Yay!
Number 6. Twinkle Dwivedi. Twinkle Dwivedi's case unsettled doctors for a simple reason. It didn't fit. She had lines drawn on her face like, should we say a tattoo? Well, it's totally unrelatable. Symptoms appeared without patterns. Tests raised questions, but delivered no conclusions. Specialists investigated extensively, yet no diagnosis fully explained what her body was doing. Her condition remains unresolved, occupying a space medicine rarely likes to admit exists: the unknown. Twinkle became a reminder that science, despite its progress, is not omnipotent. Some phenomena resist classification. Some bodies refuse labels. Her story does not demand answers. It asks for humility. And in a world obsessed with certainty, that may be its greatest contribution. Number 5. Verdant Joshi. Verdant Joshi was born already carrying a medical mystery. His right foot began growing uncontrollably, while the rest of his body developed normally. By early childhood, that single foot weighed nearly as much as his entire body combined. Doctors across India, and later from around the world, examined him. Over 100 specialists, countless tests, no clear explanation. Some concluded the only solution was amputation. His parents refused to accept that answer lightly. Despite the imbalance, Verdant learned to walk. What he couldn't escape was isolation. In his village, children avoided him. Difference became exclusion. Verdant's story exposes the cruelty of visibility. When science fails and society turns away, survival becomes more than physical. It becomes emotional. And yet he continues forward, carrying a weight no child should ever have to bear. Number 4. Versavia Goncharova. Put your hand on your chest, feel your heartbeat. Now imagine seeing it. Versavia Goncharova was born with an extremely rare condition called pentalogy of Cantrell that left her heart protected only by a thin layer of skin outside her rib cage.
My condition affects my daily life because I can't do some normal things, like I can't run.
Every movement carried risk. A simple fall could be fatal. Doctors warned she might not survive infancy. Her parents moved her from Russia to the United States in search of advanced treatment. Surgery was possible, but only if her blood pressure could first be stabilized. Until then, Versavia lived cautiously. She could laugh, learn, and play, but always under fear. Her mother admitted the truth plainly. One wrong impact could end everything. Versavia's life is a lesson in vulnerability. It shows us how fragile existence can be, and how fiercely a child can still choose to live. Number 3. Tessa Evans. Tessa Evans entered the world missing something almost no one thinks about until it's gone. She was born without a nose, no nasal cavity, no airway structure, just smooth skin where one should have been. Breathing, smelling, filtering air, everything the nose does silently every day, was suddenly a medical crisis. Her condition is so rare that fewer than 50 known cases exist worldwide. Doctors attempted something revolutionary. They implanted a 3-dimensional printed nasal structure beneath her skin, teaching her body that something belonged there. Slowly, it worked. Over years of surgeries, Tessa's nose began to form naturally. What started as absence became innovation. Tessa's life stands as proof that technology, patience, and courage can rebuild what biology forgot. Number 2. Ryusei Imai. Ryusei Imai was 5 years old when the internet noticed something impossible. He wasn't pretending to be Bruce Lee, he was replicating him. Precision strikes, fluid kicks, controlled nunchuck movements, all with flawless timing. What shocked viewers wasn't just the skill, it was the control. Ryusei could perform routines live, synchronized perfectly with Bruce Lee films. Grown martial artists struggled to match his discipline. His father says Ryusei trains relentlessly, guided by philosophy as much as physical movement. Be like water, Bruce Lee once said.
Like water. Now you put water into a cup.
Ryusei seems to understand that instinctively. Ryusei's story isn't about copying greatness. It's about channeling it, proving that mastery sometimes arrives far earlier than anyone expects. Number 1. Daliyah Arana. Daliyah Arana didn't just learn to read, she consumed books. By age 4, she had read over 1,000. By 9, more than 4,000. And she never slowed down. Reading wasn't homework, it was oxygen. Libraries became playgrounds. Stories became fuel. Her comprehension stunned educators, leading to an invitation almost no child receives. Librarian for a day at the Library of Congress. Millions of books surrounded her, and she belonged there. Daliyah represents a different kind of anomaly. Not physical, not medical, but intellectual. She reminds us that the human mind, when nurtured, can expand endlessly. In a world full of limits, Daliyah proves that curiosity may be the most powerful ability of all. What if the human body still holds abilities science hasn't unlocked yet? Which story stayed with you the longest, and why? Click the card on screen, share your thoughts below in the comments, and subscribe for the next unbelievable chapter.